Jason Statham was bored. He had finished filming his latest action movie and had 3 weeks off before his next project began. Usually, he loved his time off. He would work out, eat good food, and spend time with friends. But today, he felt restless. "I need to do something fun," he told himself as he put on his black tracksuit and sunglasses. It was a beautiful spring day in Los Angeles, and he decided to walk to his favorite coffee shop. As Jason walked down the busy street, he noticed how people looked at him. Some whispered to each other. Others pointed. A few brave fans asked for pictures, which he gave with a quick smile. Jason was used to being famous, but sometimes it felt like he couldn't just be a normal person anymore. When he reached the coffee shop, there was a small dog tied to a bike rack outside. It was a cute, fluffy golden retriever puppy, wagging its tail at everyone who walked by. Jason wasn't really a dog person. He didn't hate animals, but he never had pets growing up, and he traveled too much now to have one. As he looked at the puppy, a strange thought came to his mind. What if I pretend to kick this dog? It would be funny to see how people react. Jason knew it wasn't right, but the idea stuck in his head. He looked around. The coffee shop was crowded, and through the window, he could see the line was long. The dog's owner was probably inside waiting for their coffee. No one seemed to be watching him closely. "It's just a joke," he thought. "I won't actually touch the dog." So Jason stood near the puppy, made sure a few people were watching, and pretended to kick toward the dog. He didn't make contact, but he swung his foot close enough that the puppy jumped back frightened. The dog yelped and cowered, pulling against its leash. A woman nearby gasped. "Did you see that? That man just tried to kick that dog." Jason immediately felt stupid. What had seemed like a funny idea now felt shameful. The puppy was shaking, and people were staring at him with angry faces. "It was just a joke," he said, raising his hands. "I didn't actually touch the dog." But the damage was done. The puppy was scared, and a small crowd was forming. Some people had their phones out, recording everything. "Isn't that Jason Statham?" someone asked. "Yeah, the action movie star," another replied. "I can't believe he would scare a dog like that." Jason felt his face getting hot with embarrassment. This was going to be bad. Very bad. He knew how quickly things spread online. By tomorrow, everyone would be talking about how Jason Statham was mean to animals. Just then, the coffee shop door opened, and a man walked out. He was tall and well-dressed, with a friendly face that suddenly turned very serious when he saw his frightened puppy. It was Will Smith. Will Smith had been having a great morning. His new puppy Buddy was only 8 weeks old, and this was their first trip to the coffee shop together. Will had just finished a movie project and was enjoying some quiet time at home with his family. He had fallen in love with Buddy the moment he saw him at the rescue shelter. "This little guy needs a good home," the shelter worker had told him. Will knew his kids would love Buddy, and he was right. The puppy quickly became part of the Smith family. Will enjoyed their morning walks, and today he decided to get coffee and show Buddy a bit more of the neighborhood. When Will walked out of the coffee shop with his cup of coffee, he immediately saw that something was wrong. Buddy was pressed against the ground, trembling. A crowd had gathered, and people were pointing and taking videos. And there was Jason Statham, standing next to his frightened puppy. Will set his coffee down and quickly moved to untie Buddy's leash. The puppy jumped into his arms, still shaking. "What happened?" Will asked the crowd, his voice steady but serious. The woman who had gasped earlier spoke up. "That man pretended to kick your dog," she said, pointing at Jason. "He scared the poor thing." Will looked at Jason, recognition in his eyes. They had met a few times at Hollywood events but weren't close friends. "Jason? Is that true?" Will asked, his voice calm but with an edge of anger. Jason felt like the ground might open up and swallow him. This was getting worse by the second. "Well, I'm sorry. It was a stupid joke. I didn't actually touch the dog, I just—" Jason stopped, realizing how bad his explanation sounded. Will's face hardened. He was normally known for his big smile and easy laugh, but right now he wasn't smiling at all. You thought scaring a puppy would be funny? Will asked. Some kind of joke? Jason had no good answer. I'm really sorry, Will. I wasn't thinking. Will gently stroked Buddy's head. The puppy was still trembling. It's okay, boy, he whispered to the dog. Then he looked back at Jason. I've respected you as an actor, Jason, but I can't respect what you just did, Will said firmly. This isn't about me. It's about treating animals with kindness. Buddy is just a baby. He trusts people. More people were gathering now, and almost everyone had their phones out. Jason knew this was going to be all over social media within minutes. Let me make it up to you somehow, Jason said desperately. I made a stupid mistake. Will shook his head. I'm not interested in your apologies right now. I'm taking Buddy home. As Will turned to leave, Jason called after him. Will, please. Can we talk about this privately? Away from all these cameras. Will stopped and turned around slowly. You know what, Jason? Maybe we should talk. But not today. I need some time to cool down. With that, Will walked away, cradling Buddy in his arms. The crowd parted to let him through, many people giving Jason dirty looks as they dispersed. Jason stood alone on the sidewalk, his coffee forgotten. He had messed up badly, and he knew it. By that evening, videos of the incident were everywhere online. The headlines were brutal. Jason Statham kicks Will Smith's puppy. Action star's cruel joke backfires. Will Smith confronts Statham over dog incident. Even though the videos clearly showed that Jason hadn't actually touched the dog, the image of the frightened puppy and Will Smith's serious face made Jason look terrible. Jason sat in his living room, scrolling through his phone in disbelief. The comments were even worse than the headlines. I used to be a fan, but not anymore. Who thinks scaring an innocent animal is funny? Will Smith handled it like a gentleman. Respect. Jason Statham just lost all my respect. His phone rang constantly with calls from his agent, his publicist, and reporters looking for a statement. His social media notifications were exploding with angry messages. Jason had been in the movie business long enough to know how public opinion worked. People loved building celebrities up, and they loved tearing them down even more. I deserve this, he admitted to himself. It was a stupid, thoughtless thing to do. His publicist wanted him to release a statement right away, but Jason didn't want to make excuses. He needed to take responsibility for his actions. Finally, he texted Will Smith, Will, I can't apologize enough for my behavior today. It was completely inappropriate and thoughtless. I understand if you don't want to talk to me, but I would appreciate the chance to apologize in person. No excuses. Then he waited, unsure if Will would even respond. Meanwhile, at the Smith household, Will was sitting in his backyard, watching Buddy play with his children. The puppy seemed to have recovered from the morning scare, running and jumping around the grass. Will's wife came outside and sat next to him. Are you still thinking about what happened today? She asked. Will nodded. I just don't understand how anyone could think scaring a helpless animal would be funny. People make mistakes, she said gently. Even famous people. Will looked at his phone and saw Jason's message. He read it twice before putting the phone back in his pocket. Jason texted me, he told his wife. He wants to apologize in person. What are you going to do? Will watched Buddy roll around in the grass, now completely happy again. I believe in second chances, he said. But he's going to have to really mean it. 2 days later, Jason stood at the front door of Will Smith's home. He had brought a large gift basket filled with dog toys and treats. His hands were sweating as he rang the doorbell. Will opened the door, his face serious but not angry. Jason, he said with a nod. Thank you for letting me come over, Jason said. I really appreciate it. Will led him to the living room, where Buddy was lying on a dog bed. When the puppy saw Jason, he didn't look scared, but he didn't approach either. Will, I wanted to apologize to you and to Buddy, Jason began. What I did was completely wrong. There's no excuse for it. I wasn't thinking about how my actions would affect the dog or you. Will listened without interrupting. The truth is, Jason continued, I've never had a pet. I didn't grow up with animals, and I guess I didn't understand the bond people have with their pets. But that's no excuse. I should know better. Will finally spoke. Do you know why this bothered me so much, Jason? It's not just because Buddy got scared. It's because you used your power to frighten someone weaker than you. For a laugh, Jason nodded, feeling the truth of Will's words. That's not what real strength is about, Will continued. Real strength is about protecting those who need protection. It's about being kind when you don't have to be. You're right, Jason admitted. I've played all these tough guy roles, but I missed what real strength is about. Will's face softened slightly. I appreciate you coming here and taking responsibility. Jason looked at Buddy, still in his dog bed. Do you think he'll let me say hello? Will considered this, then called Buddy over. The puppy came, staying close to Will's legs. Sit, Will told Jason. Get down on his level. Let him come to you. Jason sat on the floor, feeling awkward. He wasn't used to being in this position. Humble, vulnerable. Just stay still, Will advised. Let him make the choice. Slowly, Buddy approached Jason, sniffing cautiously. Jason stayed perfectly still, hardly breathing. After what seemed like a long time, Buddy gave Jason's hand a small lick. He's giving you a second chance, Will said. Dogs are good that way. Better than people sometimes. Jason felt something shift inside him. Here was this small creature, willing to trust again after being frightened. It was a simple moment, but somehow it felt important. I've been thinking, Jason said, about how to make this right beyond just apologizing. I want to do something real. What do you have in mind? Will asked. I'd like to use my platform to do some good for animals. Maybe work with a dog rescue organization or something like that. Will nodded thoughtfully. That sounds like a good start. 1 month later, Jason Statham stood in front of a crowd at the grand opening of a new wing at the Los Angeles Animal Shelter. Cameras flashed as he cut the ribbon on the building, which had a sign reading, "The Second Chance Wing." After the incident with Buddy, Jason had decided to put his money and fame to good use. He donated a large sum to expand the shelter and improve conditions for the animals there. But more importantly, he spent time there every week, helping to care for the dogs and learning about animal behavior. Will Smith stood in the crowd with Buddy, now bigger but still as friendly as ever. After their talk, Will had agreed to help Jason learn about dogs and animal care. Their unexpected partnership had turned into a friendship. After the ceremony, reporters gathered around Jason. Mr. Statham, is this donation your way of making up for the incident with Will Smith's dog? One reporter asked. Jason looked over at Will, who gave him an encouraging nod. This isn't about making up for anything, Jason replied. It's about growing and learning from mistakes. I made a thoughtless choice that day, and it taught me something important about responsibility and kindness. He bent down to pet one of the shelter dogs, a one-eyed bulldog named Rocky that he had become particularly fond of. These animals have taught me more than I could have imagined, Jason continued. About trust, about forgiveness, and about what real strength looks like. Later, as the crowd dispersed, Jason walked over to where Will was standing with Buddy. Thank you, Jason said simply, for giving me a chance to make things right. Will smiled, his familiar warm smile that had been missing on the day of the incident. Everyone deserves a second chance. It's what you do with it that matters. Buddy wagged his tail happily, looking up at both men. He didn't hold grudges or remember the past. He lived in the moment, offering friendship without conditions. I've been thinking, Jason said. I might adopt Rocky. The shelter staff say he's been there for 2 years. No one wants a one-eyed bulldog with a face like that. Will laughed. He does have a face only a mother could love. Or an action star, Jason replied with a grin. I think we understand each other. Both of us look tough on the outside but are softies inside. We'll put a hand on Jason's shoulder. That would be a happy ending to this story. And it was. Jason adopted Rocky that day, giving him a loving home and a second chance at life. The dog who had been overlooked by everyone else became his constant companion, teaching him daily lessons about loyalty and unconditional love. As for Buddy, he grew into a beautiful, friendly dog who never met a stranger. Whenever Jason visited Will's house, Buddy greeted him with excited jumps and licks, all memory of that first frightening meeting long forgotten. The incident that could have ended Jason's career instead became the beginning of a new chapter, one where he found friendship, purpose, and a deeper understanding of what it means to be truly strong. And when fans approach Jason on the street now, they often asked about Rocky instead of his latest movie. He would probably show them pictures on his phone, talking about his dog with the same enthusiasm he once reserved for discussing action scenes. "My toughest co-star yet," he would joke. And definitely the most demanding, but also the most rewarding. In his next film, Jason even insisted on including a dog in the story, a loyal companion to his tough guy character. It became one of his most successful movies, with audiences responding to the emotional depth it showed. Sometimes the biggest mistakes lead to the most important lessons. For Jason Statham, a thoughtless joke became the catalyst for genuine change, proving that it's never too late to learn, to grow, and to become a better person. And for anyone who knew the whole story, the sight of the action star walking down the street with his one-eyed bulldog, talking to him gently and stopping to let children pet him, was proof that second chances really do matter.